Welcome.
Glad to be here.
Tuesday Night Modern. We're not interns. Jason Morgan versus Andrew Tefft.
Oh, man.
This is a good one for round one.
I concur.
Let's adjust Andrew's camera. It's a little off, I believe.
Yeah, it's good. There we go.
Quite a bit off, actually. But yeah.
I mean, I'm quite a bit off in general, so glad to be here with handsome John Douglas.
And I'm happy to be here with Taylor Gotta Go Fast Gun.
I don't get it. Is it because I played the vehicles this weekend?
Well, you tend to play aggro decks, I guess, and that's the thing.
Yeah,
Plus,
I do play aggro decks.
yeah. And Gotta Go Fast is a Sonic meme. Sanic.
Sure,
Yeah.
Sanic.
Yeah, some good Sanic. Hot Sanic action.
This Death Shadow deck, I mean, all you gotta do is avoid the Path Exiles and you're good to go, right?
Well, it's not that easy. It's definitely a good deck. We saw it a couple times this weekend at the tournament we were at, and I think our modern player, Kyle Kepi, who we'll probably see later, I'd imagine,
Yep.
who's playing Jund, kind of split his draw against it. I think if you can keep a hand that is good against discard, or they don't draw like a discard-heavy hand,
Right.
and you have a way to disrupt the first couple Death Shadows, you're in great shape.
Yeah, I just...
That's a tall order for some decks, though.
Right, I know this Death Shadow deck is just chock full of discard. Eight main deck discard spells, and that's not counting the Lilianas.
Oh, yeah.
You stick one of those, man, I just cannot see how this Esper deck can win.
Yeah, so the Esper deck's going to have some key interactions here.
I could see
Lingering Souls is particularly good against.
Lingering Souls and Ancestral Visions is probably another card that's very, very good.
Yeah, Ancestral Visions might be in the board, actually.
Right.
As strange as it seems, a lot of the control-y modern decks are putting that card in the board right now.
Okay. Here's a Windswept Teeth. We're going to get a little peek through the deck here. Okay, so he's standard Jund colors.
Probably just splashing white.
Splashing white for the Lingering Souls of his own.
Overgrown Tomb. Untapped, obviously.
Yep. You gotta get that life total below to about 10 is where you want to be.
Cyclist Street Wraith now.
Yep.
Draws the Inquisition. Nice draw. Oh, man. That's a Death Shadow. This is Esper Death Shadow now.
Wow.
Well, this just got interesting.
Man, this is a very cool matchup.
So we have Thought Scour here. I mean, I guess you're just trying to go the route of, like, the Grixis build, where you have, like, Tassigurs.
Yeah.
Try to fuel Delve. Yeah, I saw a Tasker and a Gurmag Angler.
Yeah, so I can see Tassiger replacing your Tarmogoyfs.
Mm-hmm.
Is your, like, second big guy.
Gurmag Angler does a great job of that as well. A little more expensive, but...
Sure. The two cards that I think you miss out on, which I think are huge players in the Death Shadow deck, are Kolgan's Command and Traverse the Uvenwald.
Yeah, both of those are huge.
Because,
Give you a lot of versatility.
Yeah, they give you tons of versatility. You can, you know, they become a threat or discard outlet, or, you know what I mean?
That's an Orzhov Charm. Man, that's a spicy piece of technology.
Oh, sure, get that CMC1 guy back.
Yeah.
Who needs Kolgan's Command when you can Orzhov Charm your guy back?
At instant speed. Man, let's bring up Orzhov Charm. What are the other modes of that? I mean, one's destroy a creature. It's not just destroy a creature. It's something like that, though. Here we go.
Return target creature you control and all auras you control attached to their owner's hand.
That one's probably irrelevant.
Or
destroy target creature and you lose life equal to toughness, which is very good for this deck.
Sure.
Or return Death Shadow from your graveyard to the battlefield. All of these modes seem extremely... Well, maybe not the first one. But the first one is relevant when you've got Snapcaster Mages.
Sure.
Very interesting.
Yeah, that's an interesting...
That's a nice little bit of technology.
Here's a Serum Visions.
So I'm on board.
Look at how many cards Andrew's rolled through in the first 2 turns of the game.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's 10, 12 cards deep into this deck.
Probably more than that,
7,
honestly.
10, he's 15 cards deep. A quarter of his deck. And once you've seen that many cards, like, you really are able to sculpt whatever kind of hand you want.
Sure.
You should be able to do whatever it is you find necessary. Here's a 1/1 Death Shadow.
So this is interesting. Death Shadow doesn't really play out like an aggressive deck. It's definitely more of a mid-rangey deck. But certainly on the more aggro side of mid-range. And here is Andrew playing things like Serum Visions, which are traditionally seen in control or combo decks. So I'm not huge on that, especially since I haven't really seen any discard. I think discard would be better than card selection here. But I guess without the Traverse, you lack the redundancy. Oh, there we go.
Alright, I think Jason's going to have to go for this Terminate here.
Unless he has multiples. Oh, he's got a Fatal Push, too.
Oh, multiple Fatal Pushes. Wow. Colin's command.
Your worst.
Terminate, 2 Fatal Pushes on a Liliana. So depending on what's in hand, Liliana's the hardest one to deal with.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go.
Almost assuredly taking that Lily. I can't think of a hand that Andrew would have that would not take the Lily. Even if you've got, like, the perfect answer for it. Too many options for Jason.
Sure. Whew.
So I'm not super familiar with the standard Death Shadows mirrors, like the Jund plus white versus Jund plus white.
Oh, okay.
But I think this one's going to very heavily come down to who draws the most Death Shadows. And while Andrew is leading that race 1-0 currently, I think Jason's in a much better position.
Right.
With his ability to traverse. Also, this Colligan's command, getting Death Shadows back, is relevant, but also the dealing 2 damage could be surprisingly relevant in this matchup because Andrew's not going to have any direct damage. So these could just be a race to the bottom to see who has the bigger Death Shadow.
Oh, I see.
And yeah. Andrew can't play that way.
Right, he can't keep up. I'm surprised these Death Shadow decks don't have like a dismember in them. I feel like that's a great way to deal damage to yourself.
Yeah, I just don't think it's necessary. Like, sure. You get the mana base to do it for free. So do you really want to, like, downgrade Terminate to a Dismember?
I would replace a Fatal Push before I replace a Terminate, but...
I think Fatal Push is so much better than Terminate right now.
Okay. I'm just saying, like, I mean, the initial lists were running Tarfire that targeted themselves. Like,
it could target yourself. The reason they ran it is for the tribal.
I watched people target themselves with it.
Yeah. It's usually the wrong decision to target yourself.
I'm just saying, if you want to spell, like, lose 2 life, lose 2 or 4 life, destroy target creature, that's Dismember. What's the card? Because it got reprinted in Rise of the Eldrazi, and it costs a black.
Yeah.
Vendetta. Vendetta, there's one.
Yeah, I'll just Vendetta your Death Shadow and die. quick goif count here.
No, this
Or a
is
traverse
traverse
count.
count. Yep. Yeah,
There's
there it is,
Vendetta.
Vendetta. Oh gosh, it's got that non-black clause on it. That's where Fatal Push really shines.
Yeah, it's just so versatile. Destroy everything. 1 black mana. I'm not taking any damage.
Right.
Get him out.
Get him out. Get him out. Jason's gonna happily put a forest into play here.
We have an exiled goif, I'm assuming, from this path.
Yep. Path to Exile takes the Goif all the way into exile.
I don't even see it. That's how far into exile it is.
Yeah, man.
There's a Lily. Not a terribly frightening Lily, though.
Okay. He chooses to go down on Liliana. And get back this Snapcaster Mage.
That's interesting. That might be a little of Andrew's control roots coming through.
You would have just shot right for the Death Shadow. I think his plan is to Snapcaster the Charm
Sure.
that we spoke of earlier and get back the Death Shadow, because then you've got all this value.
Yeah, it's totally reasonable. I just don't know that I would play the Lily, because you know that Jason's got a ton of removal in hand.
Yep.
I might have just played Lily and started going up.
Bring back something?
It doesn't have anything to bring back. He only drew 1 creature and it ate a path. Got him a forest.
Sure.
But it looks like his cousin Tarmogoyf is coming to battle now.
Yep. The old repeat Goif.
Down to 9. Now this is a bit awkward because we know Andrew has the Snapcaster and the path, so he could just like snap path this Goif. But that's not a great play.
Yeah, that's not where he wanted his line to be.
So this
I
Goif,
would
even though it's
still-
going to get pathed, may just be a very good play here. Because it takes Andrew so far out of his line. Yeah, and it looks like that's the plan for Andrew.
Yep, Snap Path on the upkeep. I don't think the upkeep versus, my turn matters that much here. As Jason's already got 5 mana, nothing in this deck.
Yeah, Jason didn't even search.
Oh wow, are we on 2 basics? That's interesting. Two beta basics.
Getting a Ranger of Eos. And getting 2 Death Shadow.
There you go.
How's that for within the Death Shadow race?
Yeah, this is pretty ideal. Pretty much what you want to be doing.
And they're still going to have 3 mana open to take care of whatever threats Andrew's able to deploy.
Ranger of Eos, we have 2 invitational cards on the board. Ranger of Eos
Yes,
was
we do.
originally an invitational card from one of the Ruel brothers, right?
Yeah, it was Antoine Roll.
Man, there's a sad story. There it is.
Yeah, it is a sad story. But whatever.
They were some of the greats. We don't know how great they actually were, because I think they got caught up in some cheating scandals, and that's too bad.
It wasn't like a straight up cheating scandal. I mean, it was straight up cheating. But it wasn't just like cheating in game. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they're part of a publication called Lotus Noir, right?
Yes.
And they got what was called at the time the God Book, which is a full set release in advance so that they could publish articles about the new cards.
Right.
But then they were sharing that with other French Magic community players.
Oh, were they part of that thing?
Yeah, that was how that all went down.
No, one of them did time for like a soft cheat that he had run a lot.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
He
And
did
that-
time?
Well, when I say that, I mean he served a ban.
Oh.
I think like a good 18 months.
Yeah, the thing that, like, kind of ruined everything for them was the Lotus Noir Godbook.
Sure. Right, so
Around.
Jason's going to take the 2 here. It probably makes a big difference for these Death Shadows that are about to come down.
Yeah, they're going to be 6/6s, so they're
Yeah.
going to outclass anything that Andrew can play.
Gosh, and that's just a excellent hand from Jason. He's got 2 removal spells and a Death Shadow now.
Draws the Teamer Battle Rage.
Yeah, Andrew's not long
Oh,
for
man.
this world. So what
Jason
I think
can swing in with his Ranger Evios.
play the Death... Man, yeah. Oh, he can win the game.
Yeah, if Ranger Evios goes unblocked, well, he can just kill the guy and then
Well, no, he
go
gets
in.
he gets to cast the Death Shadow, kill the guy.
You don't even have to cast Death Shadow. Oh, it wouldn't get...
No, yes, it would, because it doesn't check whether the targeted creature is of a certain power. It checks whether you control a creature of a certain power.
Right. So he had to cast the Death Shadow first.
I'm almost sure. I would have to... I don't want to misspeak here on that one.
Here we go. Ferocious. If you control a creature powerful.
With four greater, right?
But he didn't even need to do that. He could have just fatal pushed the open Snapcaster,
Attacked,
and then
Double
just
strike
double
it.
striked it. Yeah.
Yeah. Unless we got the life totals wrong. But,
I know Jason is an avid fan of going back and watching this. He'll probably kick himself over that one.
it's, yeah, I mean, you kick yourself over a lot of things. Basically, my whole life, I'm just like, why did I do that?
Why did I do that? Why was I born?
There's a Thoughtseize.
Yeah, I don't think Jason's in a position to care about Thoughtseize. I mean, I guess he could
What's this?
Tarfire him.
Tarfire, right, sure.
So now Andrew goes down to 2, and he's just dead to any Colgan's command, Wart Raid Mother.
Remaining Tarfires. Wart Raid Mother's a great one there. That's going deep. Is that the kind of thing, if you played her as a general?
Tuna used to play her as a general, and that,
Oh, yeah,
that was
our-
a thing that has
Our
happened.
good friend Ryan Colantuno. The Tuna.
The Tuna.
Alright,
Top decks the Colgan's command.
for the game.
What a good draw there. Jason
So
wins that
that's-
one regardless.
That's the story there. Interesting.
Very interesting.
This matchup is deep.
How deep is it?
Well, it's deep enough that I don't know what... Like, it's deep enough that I feel like there's 3 levels to the sideboarding.
Not Wart Raid Mother. The other Wart. Come on. Come on.
You know this. His Conspire.
Also
So-
would have won in the game.
Okay.
Wart Bogart Andy, that one.
um...
Those are some ugly kids.
Oh, man. Now I know how my aunts felt.
They kept bringing you back, though.
Yep. Keep coming back around. Anyway, so if you're Jason, I think your advantage is in your discard.
Well, we saw that Andrew does have both Thoughtseize's and Kolaghan's Command as well. Or not Kolaghan's Command, Inquisition of Kozilek as well.
Okay, so if you're on the draw, you could, and you think that they're going to take their discard out, you leave your discard in. But if you think they're going to leave their discard in, you need to take yours out on the draw.
Okay.
Because I think there's so few threats, especially from the Esper deck, that you can eventually churn through them all, and discard is one way to do that, especially Thoughtseize. I would start cutting Inquisitions before I started cutting Thoughtseizes.
Well, yeah, you just want to damage yourself in this matchup anyway. I don't know what Jason's sideboard looks like. I would be wanting to take out all of my discard. Because I assume that Andrew's bringing more removal in. Because that's the axis that this match will be fought on. Is like, it's going to be one with a creature on the battlefield.
Right. So why isn't your discard good there? Because there's going to be more removal spells than you have creatures.
Correct.
And so they're probably going to be holding a removal spell when you draw your creature. So if you can lead with a discard spell and then play a creature...
And then you just leave it up to them to top deck one of their millions of removal spells.
Yeah.
Versus playing something like
if I can replace...
a Painful Truths, where you get to draw 3 cards, and you just get a substantial advantage that way.
Sure.
So the thought is, if you keep your discard in, and you're on the other side of that, and they play a creature, and then you could just cast a removal spell on it. But if you're in top deck mode, as this will get to, and you just top deck a removal or a discard spell when you need a removal spell, you're just dead.
Sure. So it depends on what you're bringing in, really, and what you're taking out. So I want to bring in more removal spell and creatures if I have them available to me.
You want to bring in card advantage spells. Things that'll generate advantage.
So the 3rd or 4th Kolaghan's Command.
Yeah, like if you can get an extra Kolaghan's Command, that's great. If Andrew can bring in another Orzhov Charm, that's fantastic. Andrew's Ancestral Visions, if he's running them, would be tremendous. Jason Morgan could bring in a Painful Truth, which would be fantastic.
Sure. All right. Here we go. We're off to the races.
Wouldn't call this one a race.
Well, we're off to action. But that doesn't sound right. That's not like an idiom that we use.
Sure.
So we're off to the races is an idiom.
It's the closest idiom to what you're trying to say.
Correct.
So you're more worried about the style than the substance of what you're trying to say. You don't care if...
Yeah, I'm like the president.
Throwing shade at the POTUS.
Yeah, man.
Oh, that's the worst. When you get your 7 and it's just all upset. You're like, oh my god, I'm conceding.
I was playing somebody, and they were like, I don't think they were intentionally doing it, or if they just didn't realize what was going on, but they were like putting their cards into the graveyard like mismatched. You know what I mean? Like some up, some down. I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, it looked so awkward.
Oh,
yeah.
That's pretty bad. So those new sleeves that I got for my standard deck.
Oh yeah, how do you like them?
I like them a lot. They're pretty nice. They shuffle really well. The deck is like thin and it feels good. The one thing I have noticed.
Is it thin and smooth?
It is thin. It's smooth.
Feels good in your hand.
Yeah, like so when you're shuffling it, like the cards go in and out very easily. It's a very natural motion. But they're a little short.
Oh,
so yeah, so
short and thin.
Right. So the card comes like pretty close up to the top, which is fine. Like, Dragon Shields just have a ton of space up there, which I don't like, because they end up all wavy and warped.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want, like, a ton of extra, like, skin up there.
You don't want, like, a reservoir tip.
No. But the downside of this is it's very difficult to tell if, like, one of the cards is, like, backwards. Because it's even on the top and the bottom.
What brand are we giving our full-blown endorsement? You giving your full-blown endorsement?
This is Ultra Pro, back with a vengeance. Eclipse.
Okay.
Very nice.
The original Ultra Pros, like, I'm talking 15 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
That were, like, I mean, they were thick.
They were the best you could get at the time.
Yeah, and no, but I feel like when they were thick, and when you put a card in them, they puffed up a little bit, so that, like, when you slid it, instead of, like, being like a bunch of rectangles sliding against each other, imagine like an ellipse from the top.
Sure.
So that, like, the edge was a little thinner than the rest of the card.
Right.
So they slid between each other much better. In the snap of them, when you would riffle, I mean, I would go back to a thick sleeve like that.
Okay.
All right. Here's
Jason with the double Street Wraith hand, down to 14 already.
So he's gonna bobble Andrew, and I think, does he have a discard spell here? He has. I can't. Is there another card?
I see a Thoughtseize.
Okay. So maybe he just didn't have enough to take out to get all the discard spells out?
Yeah, you have 8 discard spells in.
Well, yeah.
It's going to be very hard to bring 8 cards in. Like,
right.
That's tough to do.
Sure.
And if, like you said, if you're going to leave any in, leave the Thoughtseizes because you actually want to deal the damage to yourself.
Yeah.
And being able to get, like, the bigger threats like Tasigur and Gurmag-Angler, especially in this matchup, is extremely relevant. It just does a better job of complementing the removal that you have. Like, you can get things that Fatal Push can't touch.
Right. There we go.
And there's the Gurmag-Angler. I gotta imagine that's the play.
That's where you go. I mean, unless you have a removal spell, then taking the Serum Visions is just very easily done.
Oh, sure.
Because now the Serum Visions, like...
But, like, for a removal spell, we're very specifically talking about Terminate End here.
Concur.
I guess a Liliana would be also relevant.
Yeah, so with Mishra's Bauble, it's one of those things where you sometimes you'll cast a card and you'll just say trigger afterwards, like, you know there's a trigger out there for you.
Yeah.
So Mishra's Bauble, you say go trigger. Just add trigger to everything you say. Even if there isn't one, that way you can be like, oh, I didn't miss it.
So what you do is you pop the Mishra's Bauble and you say trigger on your upkeep. So you've announced your trigger.
Oh, yeah.
So that, like, if they draw, you can say, well, I announced my trigger, so I get to draw.
Oh, sure. Is that card still like $800?
No, it went down to about 400.
Oh, good. I would love to play this Death Shadow deck with, but that card is oppressively expensive.
Yeah, it is. And I don't think it's iconic enough to get reprinted in Iconic Masters later this year.
It's not?
No. Although it does have the name Mishra in it.
Some of the things they reprint, though, you're just like, come on now. $50. A $50 uncommon.
Yeah, pretty ridiculous.
Should have bought those Cold Snap packs for 10.
Yeah, when we were talking about it, we were like, all right. So this Cold Snap has, like, Mishra's Bauble, Counterbalance, which is tanked, which is probably why Mishra's Bauble is more now, honestly.
Sure.
So we've got a 5/6 Goyf staring down a hand of lands.
Yeah, this is not where Andrew wants to be. He needs to see... I guess he'd love to see... Thirst for Knowledge would be the best card I can think of.
Thirst for Knowledge would be pretty good. This Death Shadow is pretty nice. if Jason doesn't have the removal.
Yep. It's possible. Nice one.
Kind of assuming he has to have the removal, though.
Alright. So let's see how deep we're going to go here.
I don't know that I want to go to all the way to 9. Wow.
Oh, so Andrew was at 12 because we hadn't caught up to the Street
okay.
Wraith. I think the best card for Andrew actually right now would be a Lingering Souls.
Lingering Souls would be very good. I mean, it's not amazing, but Andrew's very far behind, and that would be the first step.
Right. It's going to buy him a lot of clock.
Liliana of the Veil would be very, very strong.
Sure. Alright, so the Death Shadow is a 4/4. That's not big enough to interact with this. I mean, I guess he could feign having a Street Wraith in hand.
Yeah.
That would...
I don't know that Jason can attack in here.
Well, after the Thoughtseize, he can. Oh, before the Thoughtseize.
Yeah, this would be a very risky attack for Jason, especially since he has the Thoughtseize to confirm.
Right, confirm or deny. Alright, here's Terminate. Confirm or deny a counterspell in hand.
Alright, Andrew down to 4. This is dangerous territory.
Yep. Yeah, it's
Top deck's a land.
Geez,
That'll do it.
4 lands, it's not much action.
No action at all.
Alright, well, that's an anticlimactic end to what was an otherwise interesting matchup. I felt like that game 1 played out had a lot of decision points.
Yeah, game 1 was very interesting. Andrew just drew a bunch of land game 2, and that's kind of just
Where
magic.
Alright, so we got about 20 minutes. We're going to go scout the field, see what we got out there for you guys.
Yeah, we'll get
Come
some
back and join us.
hot modern action for round 2.
Want some hot modern action? Hot